You might be paying your loans off for all of eternity. We applaud you too. You might be proudly queer. You may be recovering from your childhood religion. You may be struggling right now with mental health or housing or food. You might be the lone atheist in your entire family. See, I'm trying to situate us right now. This is where you are. I want you to hear that you are welcome. You are cherished here. Earlier this week, I want you to note that you have come to the very right place at the very right time. And I hope you feel that. Do you feel that? Yeah. Now, earlier this week, a congregant brought something to us that they had been keeping safely for quite a while in their home for us that I personally had never seen before and did not even know it existed. Now, I have invited Sonia, if you're able to hand it to me, that would be amazing. I have invited our sabbatical music director, Leroy Kennedy, to read this. We have 2 readings today. This is reading number 1. Thank you. And it is a letter written to Reverend Eugene Pickett, who was senior minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, written to him on March 15th, 1965, by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Dear Reverend Pickett, in the rush of events surrounding Selma in our Alabama voting project, I neglected to express my deep gratitude for your sponsorship of the dinner honoring me on January 26th. Please accept this belated note of appreciation. I must confess that few events have warmed my heart as did this occasion. It was a testimonial not only to me, but to the greatness of the city of Atlanta, the South, the nation, and its ability to rise above the conflict of former generations and really experience that beloved community where all differences are reconciled and all hearts in harmony with the principles of our great democracy and the tenets of our Judeo-Christian heritage. Sincerely yours, Martin Luther King, Jr.
I do actually have goosebumps right now. As we let that sink in, as we continue this ministry of building that beloved community, I would like to welcome to our chancel here, Sonia Tinsley Hook, this morning's liturgist, to light our chalice. Let us say the chalice lighting words together. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace.
morning. Our story this morning comes from the Bible. And while many biblical stories are about Jesus of Nazareth, this story was originally told by Jesus, a great storyteller himself. You may already know that Jesus often instructed people to love their neighbor. You've heard that one before, love your neighbor as yourself, or treat others the way you want to be treated. This is the golden rule. But one day, a man responded, "But Jesus, who is my neighbor?" And Jesus answered with this story of the Good Samaritan. Once, there was a Jewish man who was traveling a long way on foot from Jerusalem to Jericho. That's like walking from our congregational building all the way to the Atlanta airport. Shay figured that out. Now, I imagine making that walk, not through flat city streets, but over mountains. Well, along that difficult walk, this man was attacked by robbers. They took everything from the bags he brought with him to the clothes off his back. There he was, terribly wounded and without any food, water, or resources, left on the side of the road. He was powerless. Now, this road was traveled by many, and so it wasn't long before the man saw other people coming down the road. It's important to know that in this period of history, religious leaders had many resources and were extremely powerful in their communities. So when the Jewish man saw a Jewish priest coming down the road, he thought he was saved. This powerful religious man would surely stop to help him. But alas, the priest just passed him by. Then a Levite came walking down the road. A Levite was a member of the tribe of Levi, a group of Jewish people who were not as powerful as priests, but still had many prestigious responsibilities and opportunities. This man saw the Levite walking toward him next and thought, well, surely this powerful man will stop and help me in my time of need. But still, the Levite walked on by. Finally, a Samaritan came walking down the road. Now, you need to know, Samaritans and Jewish people did not get along. They had many conflicts about religious practices and land ownership. No one would expect a Samaritan to help a Jewish person or vice versa. But not only did this Samaritan stop to help the Jewish man, he dressed his wounds. He brought him to an inn. He fed and cared for him. And when the Samaritan had to leave, he paid for the Jewish man to stay in the inn and instructed the innkeeper to look after him. When Jesus finished the story, he asked, "Who was a neighbor to this man who was attacked by robbers?" The man who had questioned him answered, "The Samaritan." And Jesus told him to act as the Samaritan did. The Samaritan used his resources and power to help a neighbor in need, even though they came from conflicting social groups. Other more powerful people passed the man by. So when we ask ourselves, who are our neighbors? Who are we accountable to? We must remember that every person we come across is our neighbor. Even and perhaps especially people who are different from us. People who we are in conflict with are people who have fewer resources or less power. Ask yourself today, who is my neighbor? How can I use my power to be a better neighbor? So, I would now like to invite you to join us in the movement prayer, and I'm going to invite the Denard family to come up and lead us, Mark, Ellis, and Janelle. And I'm going to invite you to stand right here in the front, and as they do, please rise and body your spirit. First, we bow to honor the spirit of life. We lift our arms and embrace the gifts of spirit. We bring these gifts unto ourselves with gratitude and breathe and smile. We share these gifts with the world. We remember to be present. Honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present. Amen. Blessed be. Thank you, Denard family. So at this time, I'm going to invite you to greet your neighbor, and as we do, our children 3rd grade and under are invited to, we all sat down. Yeah. 1 second. If you can hear the sound of my voice, clap once. If you can hear the sound of my voice, clap twice. If you can hear the sound of my voice, clap 3 times. Great. Hello, everyone. I just want to make sure that this announcement is made. I'm so excited that you want to greet your neighbors so badly. And the 3rd graders and under are invited to exit as we do this. All of their classes, the creative workshop, preschool, will be on the 1st floor. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy.
From you I receive, to you
Let us put hands upon hearts. Feel the heartbeat, connection to life. Breathe in peace. Say to yourself silently, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love can heal the world. You are invited to say the names of people you are holding in your heart this morning. Someone who needs some extra loving energy coming their way today. Please speak their names out loud into this holy space now. May all beings find connection. May all people find comfort. May all of us find ways to be more loving. Spirit of life, love eternal, we rest in holy gratitude. We surrender to a mystery beyond ourselves, asking forgiveness for our mistakes, those times we have been selfish or thoughtless, breathing in and out, we offer grace. We forgive ourselves. We forgive each other. We begin again in love. Breathing in, we honor our earth, supporting and sustaining life. Opening our hearts to wonder for just one precious moment, feeling that deep connection with all beings. Let us calm our bodies and our minds. We breathe in peace and we exhale. We relax into this space that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the silence.
Receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Both in here and out there. Am I? Good. How can we use our collective strength to serve those who don't have housing and seek physical shelter. How do we better engage in our community and support the ongoing and tireless work to address homelessness in Atlanta? We are proud to present our Give Away the Plate today to the group A Home for Everyone in DeKalb. Started in 2017, A Home for Everyone in DeKalb is led by a passionate group of volunteers, including UUCA member Natalie Sneddon. There is a tremendous need for rehousing assistance and also for emergency shelters when the weather is too cold. In partnership with St. Peter and St. Paul Catholic Churches and Decatur Methodist Church, they have provided emergency shelter, sleeping bags, food, and MARTA cards. A Home for Everyone in DeKalb is now working towards buying a house to better care for the unhoused and is also looking for volunteers to join their Friendly Visitors program to give extra support to their newly housed clients. We are excited to strengthen our partnership with them and build a closer relationship with our fellow faith communities. In order to fulfill these dreams and house more people right here in our community, A Home for Everyone in DeKalb needs our financial support right now. Let us deepen our commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of every person and help everyone find housing and shelter. This morning's Give Away the Plate goes to A Home for Everyone in DeKalb. We are proud to be part of this faith partnership. This morning's offering will now be given and very gratefully received.
know how healing it is to be in the midst of a live choir until you're not in the midst of a live choir for 2.5 years. You know, that sound, not of just one beautiful voice, but made more beautiful because it is part of a whole, in harmony. And that is what we have continued to do. The ministry, the work of this congregation has continued throughout these 2.5 years, throughout this pandemic time. Even when we were only meeting online, we were continuing to give away our plates, to contribute to our community. And so we are grateful for all those partners and grateful to be able to provide, hopefully, a home, some comfort, some nurturing to someone in our county, in our neighborhood, who desperately needs it. So blessings on this gift, blessing on this precious offering. May it go far and wide and do the most good. And I think I'm also going to lead us in the dedication of the offering. Won't you please join me as we dedicate this morning's offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community. We dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. And now I'm introducing you. I'm going for the letter. If you just, you're going to bring it. Okay, great. We have a second reading this morning. It's very exciting. I'm very excited, if you cannot tell. So it is another letter, a thank you letter, written to Reverend Eugene Pickett, also senior minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, on October 31st, 1968, so after Martin's death, written to us by Coretta Scott King, read today by Sonia Tinsley Hook.
Dear Reverend Eugene Pickett, thank you for your letter of October 24th, informing me of the contributions which you have received for the purpose of establishing a memorial to my husband. I am enclosing letters to the individuals you listed, and I would greatly appreciate if you would forward those to them. Please convey to the members of your congregation my deepest appreciation for their help at the time of my husband's death. Their concern and sympathy were demonstrated in many ways and made a tragic and confused period less trying for my family and me. It would have been impossible to provide for the many visitors in my home without the generosity of the members of the Atlanta Unitarian Church. The food, transportation, lodging which they provided will be remembered as a tangible demonstration of the brotherhood in action which the Unitarian Church has always stressed. Opening, sorting, and handling the tremendous amount of mail sent to my children and me would have truly been an insurmountable task without the help of the people who responded to the Unitarian Church's appeal. Through the years, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta has been a leader in bridging the gap between the white and black communities. My family and I will always remember how warmly and willingly you extended friendship and love during our most difficult hour. Please know that we will always be grateful. Sincerely yours, Coretta Scott King.
Can I give this to you? First of all, never underestimate the power of a thank you card. And second of all, if Martin Luther King Jr. can be late on his thank you cards, you can too. For my generation, actually, this is a powerful message. Thank you cards can sometimes be difficult, but one day they might be framed and hung, which they will be, in our congregation. This sermon, which is based on 2 thank you notes, is in fact another kind of note. It is an invitation. Reverend Bill Sinkford, Unitarian Universalist minister, tells a story about a young child learning to go to sleep at night. It is very dark in the room, and the parent sits at the foot of the bed, reassuring the child. "I am here," they say. "I am here." The child, not yet accustomed to sleeping on their own, is trying to see in the dark and listen for reassurance. The child asks, "Yes, but how do I know you see me? Is your face turned towards me?" My question for us is, where is our face turned? We are in a tender new season for this congregation, that is for sure. We are charting new territory together, moving forward into the unknown. We are reshaping and reconfiguring ourselves, not for a new campus, but for a new world. This is a powerful, fertile season for us. This congregation needs you, needs all of us to thrive and to survive. We have been singing songs and casting the vision of building a new way, building a new way. And during the last 2.5 years, we have had to turn inward. We have had to turn inward for our own safety, really, our health. And also because we needed to raise the resources to secure our beautiful future here. But now we are in a new phase. And I believe that for our safety, for our health, mental health, it is time to turn outward and experience the power of community in all of its flaws and its beauty. We still need you to sign up to serve on Sunday morning's Radical Welcome Team. You saw those awesome people in their shirts, their teal shirts, as we work on reshaping how we welcome each other into this holy ground. And while we are serving this beautiful, emerging community, we are also answering the question at the very same time, what does it mean to be missional? What does it mean to understand that we exist not just for ourselves alone, but for the community beyond our walls, as well as the fellowship within? Unitarian Universalism, at its best, can transform the world. This is not lip service. This is not just a cliche. It is not pie in the sky. What I mean is that if we can be healthy enough to do our inner spiritual work within, if we can honor our deepest commitments and stay accountable to each other and to our covenant that upholds the worth and dignity of those who are particularly caught in the crossfire of oppression among ourselves, then, only then, we can truly go beyond. We can become what Reverend Jim Forbes calls a spiritual dream team. You remember the dream team, the basketball team from the Olympics those years ago? Well, I think we might have a dream team among us right now. Now, remember I said the sermon, based on 2 thank you notes, is an invitation. It's an invitation to do the work, the spiritual work, on 3 planes: within, among, and beyond. You are invited to join the spiritual dream team. What if enough of you, I'm talking about you right there, sitting right there, what if enough of you ran for, let's say, the Atlanta Public School Board, and eventually you influenced hiring and curriculum decisions so that before long, our whole lives, our comprehensive sexuality education became the model for health education all across our public school system. Don't say it can't be done. Do not say it can't be done. This is exactly how progress happens, but not without strategy, not without years of planning and supporting each other. This is going on in some Texas school systems right now with strong, vibrant Unitarian Universalist congregations who have moved those curricula forward. You are invited to join the dream team. What if we develop partnerships with other congregations and our mayor's office to envision what mutual aid really looks like, to establish a way to fully staff and support a stronger 311 hotline where citizens can request help in various ways for a crisis? You are invited. Join the spiritual dream team. What if we join an underground network transporting pregnant people to states where they can get their abortion procedures safely? Paying for plane tickets, driving people to the airport, picking them up, and bringing them back home. The First Unitarian Universalist congregation of Dallas is doing exactly that, and flying people to New Mexico. Wow. This is possible. You are invited. I want you to hear this invitation. You are invited to join the spiritual dream team. You know, we cannot even know everything that is possible if we as a congregation are able to work on these three planes within, among, and beyond. Now, this sermon is also an invitation to a stance. Which way are you facing? Asked the child. Are you turned towards me? You may know this other story from our history. Once upon a time, well, specifically in 1960, Ebenezer Baptist Church and the United Liberal Church, which was an earlier name for this church, decided to hold racially integrated youth group gatherings, which just was not done at that time. At that time, Coretta Scott King was Ebenezer's youth group leader. The Ku Klux Klan called Ebenezer Church in the minister's absence and threatened violence at the next integrated youth gathering. Mrs. King and the other church leaders decided the meeting would go on, but they advised the parents so they could keep their children home if they wished. No parent felt like they wanted to keep their children home, and the parents of both churches surrounded, both our church and that church, surrounded Ebenezer Church in a ring of protection with their bodies. Reports are that the only disturbance was a group of men in a car shouting insults. They may or may not have been Klan. And I think about that circle. And I imagine that in the circle of parents, the parents were all facing outward, don't you think? They were protecting the youth group. They were establishing a safe haven for learning, for worship, but their eyes and their hearts were facing outward. I imagine that was their stance. And I invite you into that stance once again in 2022. Not only to create a force field of protection, unless that is what is needed, and that is what is asked for, but to listen well, to listen to community leaders, to be there when they need you. Because now that we finally have walls, friends, it is time to go beyond them. And the pathway has been laid out for us all before. I mean, we have been this congregation before. Some of us may have even physically been a part of that time out there. And when a member of our staff read this letter to me this past Tuesday for the very first time, I was overwhelmed with emotion. Truly, it's difficult for me to hear it now without crying. I mean, a lot of emotion, actually. There was a lot. And I was moved for two reasons. One, because the truth is UCA was not being thanked for a prophetic ministry. You heard that, right? It was It was not our protests in the streets. It was not going to the halls of the Capitol, not our physical presence at the March on Selma. No, it was our pastoral ministry that made the most difference to the King family and to the civil rights movement as a whole, because they were lifting that up. And so we could lift them up. We were simply helping a family in need during the greatest crisis they had ever known. And not by simply bringing a single dish and dropping it off. No, we were helping to organize all the food, the lodging, the travel for their out-of-town guests coming to Dr. King's funeral. We helped them sort through and answer the mountains of mail they were receiving from across the globe. I mean, this is an intimate level of neighborliness that you can only really do if you are in deep relationship. I was overwhelmed. I'm still overwhelmed with pride at being just a small part of the legacy of this congregation. That there was a time when we were in proximity with the epicenter of the civil rights movement, not by politics, not by activism, but by close pastoral friendship. This was a church that really knew how to be the church. I mean, I was feeling awash in humility and completely honored to simply be connected to you, let alone serve as your minister. The second reason for the tears, however, was a question that has been hanging over me for a while, perhaps over us all. Are we still that congregation? Are we investing in partnerships with people who are on the front lines? Do we know how to hold and maintain an outward stance, making ourselves vitally important through our ability to care and lovingly offer whatever support the justice leaders might need? Now, I do think we have prepared the way, and we are poised to be this vital again. Yes, we are. Are we? Yes. We know how to provide care. Amen? Amen. We know how to feed each other. We know how to support each other. We have a caregiver support group. It is a lifeline for some members of our congregation and beyond our membership as well. We are making plans to start a grief support group even now. You know, maybe there was a third reason for the tears as well. It is a daunting task to take care of ourselves, to care for each other, and to turn outwards and send our care towards the relationships that are bringing about change. I mean, we will need to tend to it all. Our relationships with self and spirit within. Boy, that's hard enough most days. Our relationships with each other, among. That gets pretty complicated too. And then finally, our relationship with our partners out there, beyond. But you are invited. You are invited into a world that is beautifully, intrinsically complex and responsive. The work of congregational life, it's not really the work of doing and creating things, though we have created a beautiful thing here. I mean, like that, like this thing that we're in, that's holding us. It is actually the work of weaving relationships within, among, and beyond. That's really the thing. The relationships, the energy. This is who we are. This is a story of who we have been and who we can be again. This pathway has already been laid out before us. All we have to do is keep moving in that direction. And these letters, these thank you letters, showed me that we need not be the great vocal leaders of the movement, always expressing ourselves and trying to be heard. We simply need to be in relationships of care, of service with the folks who are doing the work. To show up in every way we can. And if you are one of the folks doing the work, if you are one of the people expressing yourself, and that's your ministry, I bless that, and that is beautiful. And if you are one of those people who are going through this thank you cards for the family in need, who are bringing the food, I always say, my parents who are probably watching right now have always brought the coffee cake for the revolution. And that is holy work. We need all of it. So, I don't know precisely what shape our mission will take. I only know that it is our mission and our values that require us to take a posture, an orientation towards facing inward, then moving among, and then finally beyond, outwards. Our ancestors who were part of this congregation back then, they are speaking to us now. Eugene Pickett, who we did lose over the last 2.5 years, seems to be speaking to us now. The question is, are we ready to listen?
Yes.
And I think we are. Yes, Jennifer, I think we are. The relationships we are constructing with the things in front of us matter. The things in front of us right now, this building, right? Like, we can use things, but we gotta love people. People can become corrupted when they are using people and loving things. Yes? And so the truth is, this building is a thing. And so let us use this campus, this building, to love people. The invitation to join the spiritual dream team, serving within, among, and beyond us, is waiting for your inspired reply. Will you accept it? Got to do when the Spirit says do. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you've got to do, oh Lord. You've got to do when the Spirit says. Spirit says do. 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 You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you've got to sing, oh Lord. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. 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 The Spirit is telling you something right now. It's time to do. We have everything we need to be this congregation, the congregation we have been, to live into all that we have done here, and to go beyond, to make Atlanta a place where people can truly thrive. All people feel welcomed and cherished, just like you might be feeling this morning. Maybe we can take this little slice of heaven and we can do the work that it takes to bring that heaven into being in our whole city, and maybe even beyond that. But first, let us take that first step together. Go out into your day. Go in blessing. Go in love, even as you bless others along your way. It's time to dance. You've got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You've got to dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you've got to dance, oh Lord. You've got to dance when the Spirit says dance. I don't feel like where's the dancing? Spirit says dance. Spirit says dance. Spirit says